My name is Austin Allen. I'm a volunteer reserve firefighter at Station 38 with Riverside County Fire, and you're watching Report on Conditions.
On today's episode, we show you a residential structure fire in Rubidoux, and Fire Station 73 in Temecula educates us on water tower operations utilizing their ladder truck.
Engine 1 with report on conditions.
Hi, I'm Captain John Klinging-Smith Jr., and thanks for tuning in to today's Report on Conditions. We're kicking things off in Temecula with Fire Station 73 and their water tower operations.
I'm Spencer King, Fire Apparatus Engineer on Truck 73. Today we're out here in the city of Temecula with Engine and Truck 73 performing a water tower operation. This operation is typically established when we've gone defensive on a large-scale fire. Today we're teaching our newer firefighters and engineers this vital skill due to the complexity of the water tower operation. This is an important check mark for these employees to be signed off to work on a ladder truck. Prior to being able to work on the truck, firefighters need to demonstrate that they are proficient and able to safely climb the aerial ladder. Prior to the ladder being raised, firefighters need to attach the portable monitor to the tip of the aerial. They're also going to grab 130 feet of 3-inch rubber hose and run it up the aerial to that portable monitor so we can supply water to it. Another important role to this operation is the engineer. He needs to be proficient in his hydraulic calculations. Hydraulic calculations include connecting to a hydrant and having a supplied water source. After that, they will then account for the amount of 4-inch hose that runs from the engine to the truck. They will then perform their hydraulic calculations, and based off of that number, they will determine what PSI the ladder truck needs to be pumped at. Typically, these incidents will run for several hours. The fireman that's at the tip of the aerial will be on a self-contained breathing apparatus. Once that BA is depleted, he will then come down and be swapped out with another fireman. These firemen are our eyes in the sky, just like a bald eagle. This is just one of many specialized tasks performed by the truck company. Do it for Dale. We'll see you later.
Let's check out the call statistics from May 19th through May 25th. During that time, your firefighters responded to a total of 3,912 calls for service. Of those calls, 3,028 were medical emergencies and 123 were fire-related calls. Here's a look at a few of those incidents. At about 2:15 in the morning on Monday, May 19th, your firefighters responded to reports of a traffic collision rollover on westbound Highway 60, just before the interchange to North Interstate 15. The first arriving company officer reported a single vehicle that had rolled over the side about 50 feet with 2 victims. Fire crews worked to rescue the 2 patients utilizing their aerial ladder truck. 1 patient suffered from major injuries and the second sustained moderate injuries. Both were transported to a local area trauma center for further treatment. Just before 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, firefighters were called to a reported structure fire in the 45-400 block of Beach Court in Temecula. The first on-scene company officer confirmed a 2-story residential structure with smoke showing. After all occupants were evacuated, engine and truck companies pinpointed the fire to the attic, where it was spreading to the second floor of the structure. Firefighters worked to salvage any valuables while containing the flames to the attic and second story. Crews remained on scene for several hours performing salvage and overhaul. No injuries to civilians were reported, and Temecula's Building and Safety Division were contacted to examine the home. At about 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, May 22nd, dispatchers received calls reporting a vegetation fire near Grapefruit Boulevard and Avenue 54 in Coachella. The first arriving battalion chief visually confirmed 1 acre involved, with flames moving at a slow rate of spread. Using the dozer, firefighters created a fuel break to keep the fire contained to what ended up being a little over an acre. Crews remained on scene for about 2 to 3 hours working on mop-up and finalizing containment. There were no injuries reported. Just before 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, May 24th, firefighters arrived at a residential structure fire in the 3700 block of Minturn Street in Rubidoux. The first on-scene engine company officer reported fire emitting from multiple sides of the structure with an exposure threat behind the home. Fortunately, crews confirmed that all occupants were evacuated and were able to contain the flames to the structure of origin. In total, 6 residents were displaced and assisted by the American Red Cross. 3 residents were treated for minor injuries but declined further treatment. On the afternoon of Sunday, May 25th, dispatchers received calls reporting a traffic collision near the intersection of Bundy Canyon Road and Sunset Avenue in Wildemore. The first arriving engine company officer reported 2 vehicles involved, both with major front-end damage. Fortunately, the 3 involved patients were able to self-extricate, with 2 suffering moderate injuries and 1 with major injuries. All 3 patients were transported to a local area hospital. No other injuries were reported.
I teach children from 6 months and up to self-rescue in the water, so that's learning how to navigate the water safely. I'm Lauren Rivers, and I'm a certified swim survival instructor. Drowning is one of the leading causes of deaths from kids 1 to 4, and 70% of those drownings happen during non-swim times. If you're talking a backyard pool, trying to make that as safe as you can for your child, the number one thing is barriers, an actual physical barrier around the pool or body of water, whether it's a pond, whatnot. High locks on any doors that can lead to the pool. Alarms that chime when the door is opened or a window's open, or even doggy doors. And then moving any chairs, tables, whatnot that kids can use to stand on to be able to open that fence. You should always either hire a lifeguard, a certified lifeguard, someone who's been through the training, a CPR certified, lifeguard certified, a designated water watcher. Whether it's a family member, they know for that hour they're watching the water, and that's their sole job. Someone should always be eyes on the water. Drowning does not look like what people think. It's silent and it's fast. That's when an emergency plan in place is going to be key. There's people that know how to do CPR, and they can pull that person out. They can designate somebody to call 911, go outside, and the fire engine, bring them back to the pool, and they can take over from there. But shortening that time frame because you have a phone available on the pool deck for someone to use in an emergency, and somebody else being able to start CPR right away has been the difference between life and death for a lot of these kids.
That's all for this week's Report on Conditions. Follow your firefighters in action on our social media at CalFireRRU, and stay up to date on incidents happening countywide. If you caught any great footage of our firefighters at work or out in the community, send them to us at rrupio@fire.ca.gov. On behalf of your Public Affairs and Community Education Bureau, I'm Captain John Klinging Smith Jr. Thanks for watching.